Yeah, so welcome to the first episode of what's probably gonna be called the Spongeboomer podcast. I am Ave, and my co host is gonna introduce himself now.
The board binge was there very long ago. I was also on this channel before, Upper got super big.
Yeah, so we are gonna be talking about SpongeBob today, big surprise, and bored binge watch. Well, I can't even pronounce words. Binge watcher had the idea that we could do the topic of the most underrated SpongeBob episode by each season, but not each season. We're gonna be going up to season 12, and he can explain that.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't watch the show much anymore. But like a few years ago, when I got into contact with Affe, I would actually watch this series quite a bit. It was COVID time and whatnot. And I would have all these opinions that I wanted to review it. And I once told him like, "Oh, let's do a podcast one, so we don't have to actually record, like get. Oh, I mean, we only have to record ourselves talking, because if there's two people talking, then people don't need to actually see a background with moving footage, so that saves a lot of work." And now, like years later, he finally approached me on Discord and says, "Let's do it." So here we are.
Yeah, so we are gonna be going. I'm gonna take the what is it called? The which are the even ones? Even is like 1-3, right? No, it's the other way around.
No, even is the ones that are multiplyable, divisible by two, right?
Okay,
Even is like two, four, etc. And one, three, five, that is uneven.
okay. So you are taking uneven, and I'm taking even.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
taking uneven. That's true.
great. Yeah. Well, you can kick it off with season 1 then.
Yes. Okay. So I actually also have a SpongeBob review of the first season on my own channel, ranking, and actually that's how you got to know that I was also doing reviews, right? How you approached
Exactly.
me at
I
first,
commented on that one.
and yes, and there I put the episode "Sat" at first place, and after rewatching it, I mean rewatching just the list of episodes because I just had a few like an hour to prepare. I still agree with that, and I think Sats is the best episode of season one. And while the best might be argued, but at least the most underrated one. That's what we're talking about today. Why is it that choice? Well, I like that they are sort of teaching a lesson. It really serves its purpose as like a kids show episode, but it does not come off as preachy or anything. Me watching it as an adult, to me that makes me appreciate it even more, knowing that there's also a good lesson to be learned there. But they do it with a lot of humor. I think that it's very funny, especially now after Corona and stuff, to see Patrick trying to heal SpongeBob in, let's say, unorthodox ways, so to speak, and warn against the horrors of the Doctor. And besides that, there's a very funny moment where Mr. Krabs is like, "Can't have you sneezing all over me food," and all the customers run away and whatnot. And I also like Sandy's role, trying to actually be a voice of reason in this episode and trying to take SpongeBob to the actual doctor. And when they get to the doctor, it is also just glorious with SpongeBob getting his reward and then Patrick getting tortured. So, what did you think of it?
I actually, I have to say, I agree mostly. Like, I love suds. I wouldn't have it as my personal topic, but I think it's really good. And it's funny you mentioned Sandy's role, because the first thing I could think of then is like what's probably one of my favorite scenes of season 1, which is the phone call between her and Patrick. Like, it's
Yeah,
where
faster than the
yeah,
rabbits. I
like
mean.
him saying, yeah, yeah, the rabbit, and him like getting pissed off. You can see it in his like face. He's getting more pissed off as she's talking. This episode is really funny. Like, I have to say, I did a ranking as well of season 1 a while back, and I think I put it in A tier, and I would probably stand by that. And I had a few in S tier as well. So it's like probably in my top 10 of the season, maybe not top 5, but I really like Suds. I agree with pretty much everything you said, except for like, yeah, the
Yeah.
placement itself. Suds is
You
really funny.
you should be sued for trying to impersonate the doctor. What he said. He said, I don't
Yeah,
remember it.
yeah. Patrick is he's not really a good doctor, but he really shines in this episode. I feel like he has so many iconic moments and lines.
Especially in the end, he's really shining in the end
Yeah, yeah. He
in his
kind of
new
deserved
role.
that. Um, so I mean,
What's your pick?
my pick is gonna be
Oh, you want to still
Squidward.
say something
No,
about
no, no.
Suds? Or?
I can move on to mine, and that is Squidward, the unfriendly ghost. This one I feel like it's just never talked about. People might like talk about it as like, oh yeah, that time like SpongeBob and Patrick tried to put Squidward in a coffin and stuff. But I feel like this episode is extremely funny, like especially for season 1 standards, because it's not really as consistently funny as 2 or 3, but this episode has so many good jokes, and like there's visual jokes, there's like I mean it's SpongeBob, early SpongeBob, so you're gonna have a great variety, but SpongeBob and Patrick believing that Squidward is dead is just a really funny concept, and I think the episode like manages to be both kind of cozy and then like have this really like outlandish concept of them trying to put him to rest, and it's just hilarious all the way through for me. What do you think about Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost?
Well, I actually agree, man. I if I had not picked Sod because I just love Sod so much, but it's obviously not a hated episode only. I would have maybe picked this one if I'm
Oh
being
shit,
honest. Yeah,
that's
because like
great.
the thing for me is this one is like one of those episodes that I want to say is really good, but then when I watched it too many times, I will probably be a bit disappointed with the
Yeah,
substance. But other than that, and then I mean the quantity of substance, right? Not the quality, because the quality really is good. It's just at some point when you watch these shows too much, then at some point it just feels like every episode is only 5 minutes, and that's certainly something that could happen with every episode. But like for me, Subs is a better episode, just like a more complete episode with more things to like about it. But Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, I agree that it is very much not talked about. People might even not like it, and I think that's unfair. I think this is a really funny episode. I don't remember everything, but I remember that. Especially that scene where they're organizing that whole funeral, and you have crabs and everyone getting out of the bus, right? But it was just such a weird scene, but not in a bad way.
yeah.
And it didn't feel tasteless or anything because we all know that Squidward isn't actually dead.
Exactly. So it's not like some
Yeah,
mid-season episodes where
yeah,
death is
yeah,
treated a
and
bit
also yeah,
weird.
because well, the thing is, the way he's supposed to have died is also just ridiculous. Like no person melts to death.
Yeah. Uh,
So that's the reason because in the mid season you'd have like perhaps driving Plankton into a paranoia. We don't have to get into the that
no.
stuff,
Yeah.
but
Don't say the S word. I
yeah, I
don't think
cannot
this podcast will be
use
up.
that word now. I can use I cannot use the word,
No, but I
but you know what
actually,
I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with what you said. Because you said earlier that you think like the story in Suds is more complete, and you mentioned like the moral of the story and stuff. And I think that this episode is, yeah, of course, weaker story, because I think this episode is just it's just a gag heavy episode. It's just like meant to be like nonsense fun, whereas Suds
Yeah,
has that
not
as
for
well, but
nonsense.
also like the stronger plots. I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah, that is what I appreciate generally, and I think also that is why, for instance, pizza delivery or what's the other one, band geeks would be really popular because they also have a certain story.
Exactly. It's not just the jokes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with that necessarily because, as I said, I prefer Sat over pizza delivery actually. But yeah, sure. So that to me the jokes, but if the jokes would be like the thing is the episodes maybe are a bit too short because if you have 20 minutes, 23 minutes, and it doesn't start feeling shorter, that is pure just good jokes. That would be might be better than whatever story you can give
Yeah,
in
there is
SpongeBob.
only so much you can like fit. I agree.
Yeah.
Should I do my pick for season 2?
Sure.
I have the episode Paddy Hype, and this one is like I picking this one as underrated because I always forget what it's called. Like literally, I think it's called like Pretty Paddies, and I think that's the only thing like I can say to make the majority of people like, oh, it's this episode. It's the episode with the like colorful paddies, but it's
How about the
actually
Mr. Krabs meme though?
yeah, the Mr. Krabs meme. That
The
was like
distorted Mr. Krabs meme.
yeah, I really like that image popped up for me earlier when I was like looking through. I was looking through like all the episodes just on like IMDb to make sure I wasn't like missing out on any underrated episode. And that episode, that image of Mr. Krabs popped up, and I like it's such a funny image, and it's such a funny episode too, because I think yeah people tend to forget about like all the good stuff that's in this episode because I think this one has a really strong story. You have SpongeBob like coming up with this great idea. It's like it's actually a great idea before it backfires eventually. But you and he's literally laughed at by Squidward and Krabs, and you feel super bad for him. And then he goes out and he does his own thing with Patrick, and they are the scene of SpongeBob going to Patrick and Patrick being mad that he can't see his forehead, and then him blowing up his inflatable pants.
Yeah.
Like that scene is just hilarious. And then they do this
The
thing.
star who could fly.
Exactly. That would have been a better episode than the season 3 one. Um, but the whole episode after that is just them being successful, Krabs being an antagonist trying to stop him, and then the good thing is Krabs don't win. Krabs loses so hard. Like he gets beaten up by a mob of people while SpongeBob is like floating inside the Krusty Krab, which he apparently owns, which is a whole different thing. But this is SpongeBob, so yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It is of course a funny episode. All of the pre-movie episodes are pretty funny,
yeah,
and even like if you don't enjoy it that much when you watch it, it's this show in general. Even with the post-movie episodes, you have just these moments when you just see a clip of it on YouTube or a picture, an image, you will laugh your ass off anyways.
yeah,
And you will just realize that it was actually funnier than like if you're not expecting humor, it's really funny. Let's say it like that.
I agree.
For instance, the ending where SpongeBob is like listening to those what is it, those pickles or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the thing is like I can see what you're saying, but in the end, this is SpongeBob. This is a some people say it's an animated sitcom or whatever. It's not about story at all, but there is some level of continuity, right?
yeah,
And it's not an anthology. It's not a slapstick show. There are characters. So when you make so while the story on itself is good, the thing is that it's not a one-off story, right? We're talking about SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs and Squidward, and we're talking about Mr. Krabs is being a complete jerk to SpongeBob, and then ultimately giving him the Krusty Krab, and then the next episode things are back to normal.
yeah,
Like some things I don't care about being changed. We will talk about that later in a bit. If it's just for the gag, for instance, that just Krabs giving him the keys to the Krusty Krab is one thing, but just the fact how the episode starts off with the Krusty Krab being super unsuccessful, like one of the many businesses that's going to fail. When in every other episode, basically, the Krusty Krab is successful. For me, that is a bit too distorted from how normally the show goes to like it.
yeah. I can see what you say, especially with the ending. I mean, the ending you could argue that Krabs is just
But
after he
the
has
ending
gotten
was good.
yeah.
The,
I mean,
the, the
after
ending is
Krab,
not a problem for me because that's just an ending gag that
yeah,
he
okay.
gets the Krusty Krab.
Oh,
But
okay,
it's
I
more
see.
that actually I was wording it poorly because actually the ending actually I can live with. But if those are reversed, but more that just the whole setup is Krusty Krabs is unsuccessful, and Krabs and SpongeBob and Squidward are really just cynical and don't like each other, and that's just like you're watching a completely different show for me, and that's for me takes something away because if this was a standalone, like an anthology episode, if it was in like Love, Death, and SpongeBob or something, right?
Yeah.
This would be actually a really great episode, great story. I completely agree with you. But for me, and again, it's not a bad episode. I'm not saying it sucks or anything. I'm not saying, oh, look, post pre-movie portal was also mean spirited. No, no, I'm not saying any of that. Of that. No, I'm just saying that it's not to me. I can see maybe it is a bit underrated, as in that some people might be very negative, which it doesn't deserve, and that it is funny, but not particularly strongly so to me. It's not something I
I see that.
actively like.
For me,
So
it's just
yeah, I'm
like
sorry.
the beginning. I can see what you mean, but I feel like it's been unsuccessful in a couple of episodes, and you could just argue that like some other place opened up that failed at the end. You mean it's SpongeBob? Like it's never gonna explain itself
Yeah,
really. But I definitely see what you mean.
yeah, yeah. If really, if that wasn't there, because it is a good episode. Probably it is funny. I completely agree with that. So I don't say it's a bad episode, and maybe it is underrated in that it is funny and not always talked about in that way. It's just not something that if I were to make a list of the season two episodes, I would rank them. It would be on the lower half. Let's put it like that.
I
That
see. I
doesn't mean
see.
that it's not good, and that doesn't mean that it can't be underrated or that it's overrated. It's just not my taste personally. So sorry.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we're probably gonna disagree with like another thing really shortly, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably. So
You wanna do
actually,
your?
yeah, because I actually had a hard time coming up with even an episode to begin with. So you can definitely say that it's the Patty Hive or whatever. Uh, my pick in the end was Krusty Love. I just think this is a funny episode. And the problem with season two is just that basically the season two episodes are all just so they sort of blend together. They're all really funny, and that's it. And Krusty Love, in my opinion, is just one of those episodes that I found funny, where the plot was also just inherently funny, which often makes an episode more exciting if you have to pick between different funny ones, and that just doesn't get addressed. I think it's funny how they decided to pair up Mr. Krabs and Mr. Spoff,
Yeah.
because it is a logical thing to do, but then again, you need to think about it because it's different parts of the main character's life. This is a show that is named after one character, and for that reason, you can see that they often navigate different worlds. Right? I'm sorry, I'm going there already, but I will bring up Fraser for a second. Like Fraser is also has a to navigate different environments. The one with his family members and the one with at his station with his colleagues. And I actually like it that they keep those a bit separate. And I also like to see sometimes on the occasion to see these people interact. So yeah, Mrs. Puff and Mr. Krabs go on a date. It's just cute. And on top of that, I also think the ending. Well, we all know the ending how that goes when SpongeBob starts to just using all of this kind of language, and you don't get to actually hear what he says, but it's just so funny. Just the fact that he has the audacity, and you see Mrs. Puff going with their hands to her mouth.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. That's a. I
You're
feel like
spending all me money.
that's a really no. It's. I think I'm confusing like the shot of Mr. Puff with the thing you said with like putting her hands to, because I'm confusing that with Mr. Krabs doing the same thing, but I don't think it's from this episode. It's like Mr.
No,
Krabs like
Mrs. Krabs does it in multiple episodes, I think.
yeah. But yeah, I have to say, Krusty Love, definitely I would agree that it's underrated because it's probably one of the least talked about season 2 episodes, and it's if it's talked about, it's probably only for, you know, the fact that Mrs. Puff and Mr. Krabs are literally dating in this episode, which became like a thing later, of course. But
Retroactively, yeah. Or
yeah,
else it would have just been a nice one-off.
exactly. I think this is the episode that does their dynamic the best easily. Like Mrs. Puff is not. She doesn't dislike Mr. Krabs, but she's just kind of like, okay, I'm going on a date with this guy, and then Krabs is just like, oh, I need to buy her gifts. I need to buy her gifts. It's really funny.
You're
Um,
spending only money. Yeah,
yeah, and I also think like SpongeBob being along for the ride is like it's a given since it's like early SpongeBob and he is in plays a big role in like pretty much every early episode. But I
it's
think
called
that
SpongeBob SquarePants,
yeah,
not the Adventures of Bikini Bottom or anything. No.
exactly. Not even in the like spin-offs can that happen. But um yeah, I think it's basically just them three the whole episode. It literally is them except for like at the restaurant. And it's a really funny one, and it's like you said, it's a very unusual like dynamic for early SpongeBob at least.
Yeah,
And yeah, I would definitely
oh,
agree that it's
I thought it was
underrated.
funny.
Yeah, it is
But
funny.
I think what makes it different than say when they come back later in later season is because they don't actually take this serious, right? The relationship,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's what they should do because SpongeBob just can't tell a serious story simply due to how the show is set up. I have barely ever seen a. Well, oh, wait, I have. Sorry, I will go to my next pick. Excuse me, and you will definitely disagree with this one because I know you enough. I've seen your videos. My
Okay.
pick for season three is, and I was actually doubting about this one and a few other ones, but I ultimately went with Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. This is one to me. This is like the perfect way to end the saga with these two characters and with all of their villains. I also like Mermaid Man Begins and uh, but I just think this one. I mean, I even like Super Evil Aquatic Villain Team Up is Go. It was their last actual role. But yeah, I think this was just such a great way to wrap things up. Even though uh, in the show itself there was never like a true series finale. This was definitely a good finale for the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy characters. It's funny. It's a really funny episode in my opinion, and not the funniest, but definitely one that I could very much laugh about a lot of different things. And it has the story. So this is again one of those episodes that to me is like the complete picture. And you might actually not believe it, but it's not just like the story is cool. The story actually touched me, right? When I was younger, I actually found it very touching and beautiful to see them reunite in the end. So that was something, and I don't often say that.
No,
So
I can see that actually. I feel like of the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes, at least the original ones, this is definitely like the it's simultaneously like the goofiest one and also like the most serious one, because like basically we have Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy splitting up, and you also have like the SpongeBob characters just playing superheroes alongside, and it's basically only SpongeBob that cares. Um, I actually I know I have said in my videos that I don't think this is like one of the best Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes, and I got some hate for putting 4 over this one. But I actually don't disagree. I feel like actually I might disagree with it being underrated because I feel like this is probably
yeah,
um,
it is not super underrated because it is very popular. It is definitely seen by many people as a good one, as one of the
yeah,
better. But I do think it is even better than that.
yeah, I
And
see.
as I said, like season three and two is and one is all so funny that you just gotta pick something. And I couldn't come up with something better. It's certainly not my favorite episode from season three, but it's definitely a really good one, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
And
think
yeah,
it's like it has, like you said, it has pretty much everything you need for. It has the story, it has the jokes, it has the funny like setup, like them
But yeah, but if you
being
don't like it,
superheroes.
it's fine, right?
No, no,
Because
no.
I've
I
seen
do, I
other
do like it.
episodes.
I do like it. It's just that I personally wouldn't call it underrated because, like you said, it's if you like the episode like a lot, then it's gonna be underrated because it's not talked about
Yeah,
that much. You know, I
yeah,
feel
I
like
understand.
for me it's more like talked about properly compared to like the other Mermaid and Barnacle
Yeah,
3 episodes.
I understand. It's not super underrated because I was really doubting when this was this one, and there were a few other ones that I was doubting, but I'm also like, those are not of quality in between everything else in this season. I can't, I don't remember much of them, and I can't for sure say if they are worth that. So that's probably also.
Yeah,
But I do think this one is better than four because also because I've seen four maybe too much, but like I think four is just funny
yeah,
and
that's the same thing. I think. I think like the story in this one is obviously a lot better, but I think like that one being funnier is something that like I value that
yeah.
comedy more in this instance.
Yeah, yeah, that I understand, but that's also your taste in comedy because I can remember laughing my ass off just that how these guys were like getting into all of these misfits and then ultimately how they defeated themselves, the
Yeah,
hero. That was really
that
funny.
scene is really funny to be honest. How they don't even just defeat themselves; they defeat like each other and themselves at the same time. Like they don't even touch the villains. They throw
Yeah,
water balls at like the the guy with fire powers and stuff. It's really funny.
yeah. Okay, what's your pick for season three?
I first wanted to pick Club SpongeBob, but I feel like that one is kind of beloved. It's like some people just say it's like Squidward torture pre-movie SpongeBob Squidward torture, but that's like a smaller crowd. But I thought I'd take an episode that's actually like never brought up, and that is Snowball Effect. And this one, I guess because it's like it's a winter episode, but it's not a Christmas special. So like people are like, yeah, Christmas Who, of course. And then then you have this episode where they
It
are
was
outside in
who?
the yeah. You have this episode where it's they are outside in the snow for the whole episode. But it's like I don't think a lot of people watch this on Christmas like they do with like Christmas Who or even it's a SpongeBob Christmas. This one is extremely funny. It's SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward on Conch Street. That's a recipe for an episode I'm gonna like. They have this big snowball war that Squidward like gradually gets more into, which is something that pre-movie does really well. Squidward wanting to play with them, kind of, but kind of not. And I just think it's full of so many good gags, and I just feel like nobody ever talks about this episode like at all.
This is a really funny thing because I have never, as a child, watched Christmas Woo. Christmas Woo is the last episode I have ever seen as a person, so, like in my life. It was like I must have been like 21 or 22 or something. And this episode, I definitely do remember, and I remember really liking it. But it is unfortunately one of those episodes. Like I'm not saying it's not underrated because indeed it is not talked about very much because it's not on TV very much. But like it is one of those episodes where I know for myself that I have good memories to it, and if I watched it, it will just have a bit less substance than I remember at
Okay,
some
I
point.
see. I
But I do think I do think it's a really good episode for what it does. Squidward getting all carried away, like it has all the ingredients to be just the classic formula. It's just that for me, it like if I think about it very well, it doesn't really go beyond the formula, and it's for a large part really carried by the fact that it's set in the snow.
yeah, the snow. I agree. It really helps. What because it's basically except for the snow, like the story. I think the story is good, and I think the comedy is like top tier. But it's just them playing in the snow, and the snow looks good. So like that's enough for me. And I think like
Yeah,
it's really heavily carried by just like a lot of physical comedy. Like it's just like Patrick repeatedly throwing a snowball in Squidward's face as he tries to talk. I think it's just like it's animated. It's just animated and
yeah,
timed really well. So it's like it's like, yeah, I think the timing is really good in this one. Every snowball being thrown is like kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I definitely see it. Like it's one of those moments that is just better when you were young yourself, that you actually do things like that, right? And that it's like you're in that snowball fight yourself. Then looking back at it as an adult who who is like, I would say it is very much aware of time. So I always feel, when an episode is going fast and oh, it's 11 minutes already, that's so for me. But I actually really want to say that this would be underrated. I would have probably said it if I didn't actually like it so much as a child already.
Yeah, I see. That's fair enough. Oh
On
well,
to,
yeah. On to now we're done with the good SpongeBob. Damn.
yeah, man. Now we're going to Trash Bob, Scum Bob,
Scumbob. Shit. Yeah, you go ahead.
Scum Bob,
No, wait,
Scum
it's
Bob.
me.
No, no, oh, it's your turn.
Shit. Okay. Um, I was I was thinking between two episodes, but I forgot what the one I didn't pick was. So the one I did pick was Chimps Ahoy, and this one is pretty simple. It's a season 4 episode that's not really mentioned that much. That is pretty funny, and that's like a standout basically in this season, because this season has some funny episodes. Like, you got Krusty Towers, and then probably other episodes as well. But Chimps Ahoy is like, you are at Sandy's Tree Dome. You have Patrick playing a scientist. You have SpongeBob there as well. You have these monkey characters being tortured. It's pretty funny without being mean spirited, because they are literally just trying to help Sandy not be deported. So it's like, I think it's a funny episode that people don't really talk about. And yeah,
Okay,
what
so
do you
I
think?
laughed because you said deported. No, Sandy was. These were people from the surface world, right? The monkeys, the apes, the chimps, whatever,
Yeah.
and they were going to take to stop her filming, so she would have to move back. So it's not like that Bikini Bottom was deporting her or something. No, she was being
No,
taken back because the funding was ended.
I guess you can't be deported by the people that are taking you to their country. That is like someone coming to your country and like taking you with them. Then you're not getting deported. Then you're getting like, well, in that case, you're
Right?
getting
It's where
kidnapped.
she's
So I don't know.
from. She's from Texas.
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah, she's being sent home
Howdy,
anyway.
y'all. No, no, wait, I should not do that. That's offensive, of course. Sorry,
Yeah,
as a
now all my
non-Southerner,
Texan viewers are gonna dislike this video, man. Thank you.
uh, time to cancel board binge watcher.
Exactly.
Time to install a big like ban me from YouTube or something or whatever. No,
Yeah, you're done.
can't do that.
Now you might be
Big
able to save
crusade.
yourself if you agree with me. We're gonna have to see. What do you think about this episode?
Um, I think this episode has some really funny moments, and it's one of those episodes that is really great on a TikTok reel. It, that's the thing with a lot of these SpongeBob episodes. They have very funny moments, but when it comes to like on paper, they're really funny. They have funny things, but then when it comes together, it's a full story of only 11 minutes. That's more about comedy and story. It still sort of lacks something for me, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how to say it. It lacks a body. It lacks. I don't mean and I don't mean a good story. I mean just comedy wise, it just doesn't go far enough or something. That the comedy is good, but it's just not enough for me. And especially in post movie, that's normal. But I definitely can see it is a fun episode. It's a funny episode, I guess. Yeah, the Patrick being what is it? The all of the titles that he's carrying is really funny. And
yeah. I forgot what it was, but
was
he,
it
yeah,
Professor Doctor Patrick or something?
Doctor
Doctor
Patrick.
Professor Patrick,
Yeah,
yeah,
Doctor Professor. Yeah, that sounds right.
Doctor Professor. No, that is pretty funny. And yeah, the Sims themselves aren't bad either. And it is nice how in the end the story does come full circle with how Sandy can stay, and the
Yeah,
song is kind of, Okay, I think the Texas song is a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like it's basically this is. I mean, you can't compare this to Texas. Like the thing is, I don't
No,
even.
actually, the song sucks. And Texas is a much better song. You hear Texans, Texas is a good song. I really love Texas. It's
Yeah, me too.
Texas.
Okay, basically, like this is the season that I consider easily the most overrated season, and I have to pick an underrated episode from that.
Yeah,
So basically, all
I
the
had the same
episodes.
issue.
What do you say? As soon as you.
I had the same issue.
Oh,
I had the same problem. I could not think of anything
yeah.
basically at first.
Even like my favorite episodes of this season, like my top 10, I would probably say like pretty much all of them I would say are overrated because I don't like them as much as most other people do. Except for
Yeah,
Krusty
I
Towers. I feel
understand.
like that one is the only one that like
Yeah, yeah.
deserves.
That is the Krusty Towers is like the how to say it the outlier,
Yeah.
right? It's the anomaly. That's the word
Like
in English.
episode literally so good that people like made up a rumor that it's a holdover from season 3. It's
Well,
like
it technically could still be,
yeah,
but
it could be, but I really
could
don't think
also
so. I think it's just an you said outlier. I think I don't know. It's a different word that English
an
is not
anomaly.
anomaly.
You
Exactly,
mean?
anomaly.
That's what I literally just was looking for and found. So
Yeah, but this okay. This one I don't love this episode, but I would say it's underrated because people don't really talk about it, and
yeah,
it's decently funny.
yeah, it's fun. It's kind of fine. I liked it as a kid a lot. So then now I'm a little less positive, or else I would have said, yeah, sure, it's underrated. It's
Yeah,
just that you think from your own perspective, oh wait, I overrated it at first. So for me, well, I actually had to pick already here, and I checked to see if there was anything else, but no. As you said, but I also have like, okay, every episode basically is overrated, or so then it just comes to this one that I think is just well, I wouldn't say it's super underrated, but more like people don't talk about it, and it is definitely one of the better episodes of the season.
yeah,
It's the most solid, as Mr. Enter described it as the most solid, and that's exactly what I would say. The Pink
yeah.
Purloiner. And I
Oh,
think that episode, the Pink Purloiner, you know that episode?
yeah. It's where Patrick steals. Oh, he doesn't actually steal it, but SpongeBob
Yeah,
thinks.
see,
Yeah,
this is the level to which people remember it. He he uh SpongeBob loses his all reliable net or something, and then he thinks Patrick stole it, but because Patrick broke his own net, but
yeah,
then Patrick actually made him a net, and so it's this. I found it funny. It's funny how SpongeBob is like, I would say, it's disguising himself and trying to scam Patrick out of the net. And I found it also funny to see how Patrick then was just standing there for all day.
yeah,
I found it funny that Patrick at the beginning he says like, "Oh, I would kill for a net like that,
yeah,
something small like a carrot, not spider. That was scary." And then later you have SpongeBob imagine him like breaking a carrot in half. That is coming back from what Patrick said. That's not just a random moment. It is
yeah.
also really funny. If it was random, it would be really funny. But because it does feel random, but it's actually a reference to Patrick mentioning the carrot.
Exactly.
And
It's
and
like you clip it out of
yeah,
context, it kind of has the same effect,
yeah.
but it's
and
even
the and
funnier.
the and the what do you have in your hand? Nothing in my hand. In the other hand. And then he just
Oh
pops
right,
out
then he has
another
free
hand.
hands. Yeah,
Nothing in my other hand. No, I found this was just a funny episode. And I wouldn't say it's overall like underrated, but definitely compared to any other episode, I cannot say it's overrated either. Any other episode from season 4, I cannot say it's overrated, and I can certainly say it gets far less attention than it probably deserves compared to those.
yeah,
Because it's just yeah, it's just as Mr. Anderson said, it's a solid episode. It's kind of boring in a way, like it doesn't have an interest. It's not interesting, but it's just funny.
yeah. I agree. I was I think at least considering this one like at least for a second, but then I like picked Chimps Ahoy. Um, this episode I agree with pretty much everything you said, and you have to look. Yeah, you have to look at it like what do you call it? It's like comparatively, like it might not be like super underrated as like some season 1 episodes might be, for example, but like compared to how much love some really not very good episodes in this season get, like this one should be talked about more. I think the story, well, yeah, not maybe the craziest thing, it's still entertaining, and it's kind of sad when Patrick is like going to leave SpongeBob and stuff and not be his friend. So yeah, I like this one. I would say it's underrated as well.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Now it's my turn for season 5,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm going to come up with something that I thought you were going to disagree with the Mermaid and Barnacle with 5 a lot, but this one I'm sure that well, you will not disagree with me as much as other people, but people will absolutely just want to tear their eyes out or ears out after I'm going to say this.
Oh
The
shit.
pick I picked for season 5. You have any idea?
Um, no, like literally, you must pick like some episode that people actually hate. Is Don't say it's like
Ah,
Breath of Fresh Squidward or something.
no, no,
No.
no. I think Breath of the Spirit is a bit overhated, but yeah, it's still an annoying, just obnoxious episode. But I do think it's overhated because it probably has the best atmosphere of the entire season.
Okay,
But
I just yeah.
I'm not going to reveal the whole season. You just realized what it was?
No, wait, it's not a short, right?
No, no. Okay, I'm just going to say it.
Oh yeah, say it.
Uh, a flea in her dome. This is
Oh,
an episode. This, yeah, you remember that I like
yeah,
this one.
yeah,
Okay, so this is a really weird story with me and the flea in her dome because I used to think this episode was so boring and just they're just standing in that tree dome. And the thing of season 5 as well, I just said Breath of Fresh Squidward has the bad atmosphere. I think season 5, I don't know what it is. I think it looks so ugly and boring, a lot of the episodes. Just the animation also with season 4 to some degree drags the episodes down. And this one has some really uninspired animation of what's supposed to be this beautiful like tree dome with the nice tree. It just looks so boring. And I remember just being so bored and just not caring about anything that happened here. But then I once saw a video where I think it was, yeah, Phantom Strider was talking about this episode and he was just so negative. But then he showed some clips that I found so incredibly funny that I actually watched the episode again. Yes. Okay. So first of all, I was never grossed out by the fleas because yeah, I think that insects. I actually have an insect phobia, and I am germophobic. Just to be clear, but here the fleas look more like some sort of weird alien creatures than actual like disgusting insects with 100,000 eyes and hairs that are going to kill you. And just as a story, it works. I mean, they're animals themselves also, so the story it works of these invasive species coming after them. And the only moment that was kind of scary was when the flea was walking in Sandy's eye, but that's more because you're like, oh no, it's gonna bite her eye,
yeah,
and that actually worked in creating some sort of horror atmosphere. So that's to me, that is not a problem. I don't see why people are so grossed out by it, or this. I don't see why I'm not grossed out by it because really, I don't like germs. I don't like being dirty, and I don't like insects. But I'm just not scared that much. I'm not grossed out by it. But then it comes to what I like here, the comedy. Okay, there's there's just so much funny stuff. There's the moment where SpongeBob starts to sing, and you just want to bawl your eyes out, and then the bus driver just stops him. There's the fact that SpongeBob is crying in the beginning about the fact that Sandy is only coming home in a few hours or something.
yeah,
There's of course when they have the montage and they're preparing the party and it's like welcome home Mandy
yeah,
and the best part though is when there is the part that Phantom Strider showed me where they are like fighting and arguing over that flea collar and like well this the arguing itself is funny but then also when Patrick just starts throwing this tantrum like all you brought is fleas and trouble and pain and unrest and pain. Oh man, that is actually one of the funniest moments in post movie SpongeBob. Bro. That is actually a pre-movie level, just randomness. I cannot believe that other people don't think this is hilarious. And even the joke that is super lame and predictable, where SpongeBob and Sandy have to, keep Patrick off so that he can grab an apple. Even though that joke is super predictable, and even though he burps, which is something that I am disgusted about actually, just how predictable and lame the joke is, I just laughed at it. This is an episode that I want to like. It's certainly not a great episode, but I think that in a pretty mediocre season, where this one is seen as one of the worst, this one is super underrated because I think it's definitely one of the best of the season. That's my opinion.
Um, you were kind of right when you said like it's mostly other people who's gonna get on you for this one, because I don't like hate this episode. What I do agree with that you said was the things you found funny in the scene where the flea is like actually on them, because I think the flea color thing, of course, Patrick, I find that stuff funny as well, and him with the apple. I don't know. I don't even thought it was that predictable. It's maybe because I've seen the episode a lot of times now, but I think that joke works. I don't think the episode is super funny in general, and I yeah, the fleas are not the most disgusting thing ever, but when they are like biting, I think they are really gross. Like it's it's a gross episode to me, and
Yeah,
I don't
I can
personally
see.
like it, but I don't think it's I don't think it's even close to being like one of the worst episodes this season. So I would say
Yeah,
in general I'm kind of indifferent to it.
yeah. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that it's like in quantity wise super funny. I'm just saying that the jokes that they have, which like with all post movie episodes, is way too little. Those made me laugh a lot, and that's what I really value here. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think I found them grosser. Like, as I think about it, just unpleasant. The idea of getting bitten when I was younger, because I would often get bitten by these big mosquitoes, and then I had these big. I'm actually making a sign right now, but you can't see it, and no one can. These super big. I would say the whatever the name is. It was my skin did not have the good reaction to that. Let's just say it like that. But
I
I do
see.
think it's funny now. So, what's
Yeah.
your pick?
My pick is I'm always like picking between two episodes, and then I pick one, and then I forget what the other thing was. But because I have the list written down, and I picked Bucket Sweet Bucket. Um, this episode, people might actually not even know what it is because the name says nothing. It's like, I guess it's might be like it's obviously Home Sweet Home pun, but we already have Home Sweet Pineapple, so it's like Bucket Sweet Bucket is the episode where SpongeBob,
Yeah, I know
Patrick.
what it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying to like
No,
people who might
sorry,
actually not
sorry,
know.
sorry.
um, they go. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward are hired to paint the chum bucket by Plankton, and it's just kind of a very relaxed episode. I think the atmosphere of this one is really good. It's just really chill, even though they are messing up like crazy. And the episode ends with them like stealing half of the Krusty Krab, which is really funny. You have that iconic image of SpongeBob and Patrick taking off like the side of the Krusty Krab and like carrying it on their heads, so they're like squeezed down. And I just think it's a really, it's a funny episode. It's a fun concept, and it's kind of like a yeah, it's just a chill episode, which yeah, season 5, not a lot of chill there. What do you think?
I'm indifferent to this one because I have seen other people say this one is underrated back in the
Okay.
days, and then I was also like, okay, yeah, let's see it and try to appreciate it. And while there are definitely funny jokes in there, especially the ending joke, I really like where in the ending post credit scene when everything has returned to the Gussie Cap, and then he also took stuff from the John bucket, and then and the computer, yeah, that's Plankton's wife. Says when Krabs asked what the computer's doing, yeah, and then computer says, "Oh, that's Plankton's wife." Just how casually that was just thrown in there. To me, that was like I'd say it's a bit of a subversive way of structuring the sentence, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Uh, and there are there is humor to be had in them walking and taking stuff from the Krusty Krab, I guess. But I didn't find it that funny. Oh, another thing I found funny was when Mr. Krabs returns and then SpongeBob had makes that a rainbow or letters or something above him, and
Oh,
but
right, right.
and this to me it sort of lacks it well in quantity obviously in jokes, but also it didn't until that very ending because it just said two jokes that are from the like ending. It doesn't really strike me as funny, like memorable, and I feel like the story has something that it sort of leans a bit into SpongeBob and Patrick just being so stupid,
Yeah.
and Squidward being so pretentious that they all help Plankton, even though there's no reason to, and it just doesn't sit too well with me for that reason. Even though I can see why someone else would like it,
Mm. Yeah,
and it's not,
that's
nothing against it, but it's just not something that I find to be. I find it a very middle of the road episode.
yeah, I think this is like one of the episodes is like it's either it's like just an episode of like season 5 SpongeBob, or if you like some of the stuff a bit more, it becomes like a good episode. There's like yeah, it's a very simple episode, but I like the atmosphere and like I find the jokes funny, so that's like that's what becomes like the difference in our opinion.
I understand. Yeah. Okay,
S-
what's your pick for season 6?
Season 6, this one was hard, but I picked Professor Squidward, and this one is really simple. Like, this is kind of a Squidward torture episode, I guess, but he kind of put himself in the situation, which makes it better, but I find it funny. I think the concept of SpongeBob and Patrick being in Squidward's class and like just kind of not being like nuisances, but like just kind of doing stupid stuff, and like Patrick with the train, like Patrick driving around the train is still so funny to me. It's yeah, it's so funny. He's first when he like it's funny from the start because he just picks up a train like on his table, and then later he's driving it. It's just a funny episode. That's basically all I have to say about it. The story is like all right. Like Squidward gets punished for doing something that's actually kind of bad. So it's like
Tankles, you are arrested for impersonating a
you're a
genius.
genius. Yeah, Squilliam. Yeah, yeah. But I like
He's
it.
working for him. Oh.
What do you think of Professor Squidward?
Yeah, I look. This is the thing with this. At some point, like season 4 and 5 are boring, and at some point, when you get to season 6, it's really hard for me to determine whether an episode is just obnoxious and like scooter towards or whatever, or actually really funny because of that. So yeah, I can. I used to never feel strongly about this episode when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think the joke about the there's this joke about the metronome that I found was really funny or
Oh,
something,
right.
but I forgot. Like I was sitting in dub, so I don't know what it is in English how it goes. But anyways, that was funny, and yeah, sure that well, the train scene is just weird, and but yeah, I can definitely see why it's supposed to be like it is kind of funny, and Squidward does sort of do it to himself, but it's just not like there's another episode that I was considering for this list myself that, to my opinion, does this a bit funnier. Uh, that is even more well, I can say it's not remembered, but not in a way that you want to remember an episode. But I guess that's what makes it funny to me. And this one is just sort of tame because people also don't hate it too much. And again, I do think it's underrated because if I think about it, really honest, this might be funnier than the stuff from season 4 and 5. And yet, those are much better remembered seasons. People always talk about season 1 through 5. A lot of people
Yeah.
like it only fell off at this point, and I don't completely agree with that.
No, I think season
Uh,
6 is like it's just season 5 and 4 with slightly worse episodes. It's like
yeah, but but on the other hand, it's also I do remember after all these years, I remember season six better, and like I can think of season six episodes and just laugh my ass off just about how bad they are. So
yeah.
yeah, in that way, I do think it is underrated.
All right.
So
What do you
I
have?
would agree. I just don't strongly feel personally for it. For this one in particular, I picked Grand Peppy the Pirate.
That was my
This
other
is
pick.
yeah,
Yeah.
the second time that you're like, oh wait, was it in that one? Okay, Grand Peppy the Pirate to me is just an episode that when I first saw it, I would have thought it was season 4 or 5. Like that is the peak epitome of what I've said that you later agreed with. That season 4 through 6 is some sort of sub era, and that where because this is an episode that could have been anywhere from from the movie until season 6, basically. This episode. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
it's I didn't know what season it was from, but it just feels like see an episode. Yeah, it feels at home in season 6, but it also feels like it could have just as well been season 4 or 5, and not in a negative way. That I'm saying, oh, see, it's also yeah, it's good for torture and it's boring. No, no, no. Actually, all the positive things. The positive thing from season 6 that the animation is a little better, and the positive thing from season 4 or 5 that it's sort of a nice story. And it not the funniest, of course, but definitely just a nice story about Mr. Krabs trying to impress, I wasn't say impersonate, impress his grandfather. And I mean, even though he's lying to him, and that's not okay, but just you can see his struggle. And the grandfather is voiced by what's his name, Dennis Quaid or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And uh, just I like the whole farce they set up here. It's like one of those old sick '90s sitcoms that have these farces where they have to everyone has to pretend to be something else, and the record player coming into the man's face onto Grandpappy's nose was really funny. The spitting the water out was kind of funny, and then the thinking that Pearl is the sea monster was also funny. The harpoon thrown at the octopus was also funny with
Yeah.
the how they fooled him with having a projection screen. Not even just a normal like DVD recorder. No, no, projection screen. Okay, what do you
I
think?
I yeah, like I said, I would be comfortable like doing this as my pick as well, because I agree about this one being underrated, and I agree about I don't think about it that much how it would fit in like season 4 or 5, but it would like I like the story. I don't really think like there is anything wrong with it.
Super
Like
funny. Oh,
no, no, yeah, okay, that too.
yeah,
There's no,
that also. But
yeah,
there's
that
nothing wrong with it either.
there's nothing wrong with the story. I don't find the episodes super funny. I don't think there are like any top tier jokes, but
Yeah.
it's a funny concept. Like there are some good gags. It's a good episode for season 6. Would be good for season 4 or 5 as well.
Okay. You want to say something, or shall I go to season 7?
You can go to 7. I don't really have much to say about this episode. It's just kind of good.
Yeah, yeah, same thing. Because that's the hard thing with this season. I could pick a lot of other episodes, but then it's more like, okay, well, people think it's horrible, but it's okay, like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Season 7, my pick is The Scent of Mommy, and yeah, I think this is just a really funny episode for some reason. I get that people hate it because, like, Gary gets tortured, and that's mean, obviously.
yeah,
Shouldn't happen. But like, when I compare to any other episode in the season, it's probably one of the funniest episodes. Like season 7 really isn't funny, and just for me the routine that happens here with how constantly like Mr. Krabs are sucking the coins, and there's people are like, hey, but they don't do anything about it. They're just looking at him in anger and then walk away. That was really funny, and it didn't get old for me. The subplot with SpongeBob having to do these stupid tasks and being so stupid, that was not something I liked. But then in the end, SpongeBob does stand up to Mr. Krabs and does call him out and actually stand up for his snail. So that sort of made it alright. I thought the visuals at the casino was also cool, and I kind of had to just all of the things that Mr. Krabs did was not like it's mean, but it's because it's funny for me. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was tolerable on a viewing, like an entertainment level. And then in the end, like it's not like he gets his punishment, but then you don't get the point because it's not about Mr. Krabs actually be that last scene in the hospital isn't supposed to be about look, Mr. Krabs gets what he deserves or something. It's more the joke that because that did get all of those coins, no one took them back after he got into a coma. It's just that now he has to pay exactly that amount of coins,
Yeah.
that amount of money that he stole to pay his hospital bills. Now, yeah, I think you was it that made that review like, oh, so the moral is that you have to pay the same money you stole to pay for your hospital bills or something. But the joke is not like, oh, look, Mr. Krabs, look at him finally getting what he deserves. The joke is more that to make a visual gag of them taking all of those coins away. And also, in a way, he did get punished more than just losing the coins because he also got injured. So there's that.
Yeah. I agree about the ending, to be honest. Even if I might have said something else before, I think, like, yeah, I don't really feel like, except for some moments with Gary, of course, I don't feel like this one should really be that hated. It is, from what I remember at least, decently funny. I agree about SpongeBob subplot. I did not care for that one, except for, yeah, him standing up is good, and him in the hospital at the end with Mr. Krabs and like the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy card or whatever it is. It is um it's all right. Like this one, I'm extremely indifferent to. I like some stuff, don't like some of the Gary Torture stuff, but I just it's not it's not good. It's not bad for me, but it is kind of funny.
Yeah, okay, good. So, what is your pick?
I have actually forgotten. Oh right, season 7 was even harder to pick, but I picked Buried in Time, um, where they have this big time capsule, and we get to see some kind of cool stuff as they imagine their futures as they get stuck in the time capsule. And the main reason why I think this one is underrated is just because I watched a season 14 episode that basically ripped off this episode and did it so much worse that I went back to rewatch this, and it was just like, yeah, this did that a lot better, like with the Chrome in the future reference from SP129, and it felt a lot more tasteful and stuff. And it's just a kind of alright, like sci-fi-esque episode, and I think there are some. I just like them being stuck in there and like imagining how the future would be, and then Plankton breaking in, and it's decently funny as well. I don't like season 7 at all, but for like you, it's all right on the comedy level, and I like some of the visuals, and I like the concept.
Yeah, okay. Um, hey, uh, I think that this is an okay episode, uh, but like, just misses a body as well. You understand?
What do you say?
It sort of misses a body.
What is
How
that?
do I explain it? Just the story just doesn't go anywhere,
Oh yeah,
and
that's definitely true. They're just
and
stuck
it's not
there.
like, yeah, and it's not that it's too funny. Like I think the very ending, as gross as it is, that just the way Plankton says, "Quiet, Karen, give me more prunes," that was funny.
Yeah.
Just the not because it's gross because it's like a joke about that kind of stuff that I don't like to talk about or think about. or ever hear about. But because it's more like the way he talks to her is like, husband and wife having banter. That was funny.
Yeah.
And there are some other cool moments, funny moments. It's just that to me, I didn't find it too funny. And I also thought that the inciting incident was kind of stupid with how Mr. Krabs just throws that formula in there. They are sitting there, those three of them, that also got catapulted so weirdly into that thing. And then Mr. Krabs just closes the time capsule. I just found it a bit lame, if I'm being honest. I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I definitely see why people like this one. I just, to me, it doesn't do much either. Like, same with Bucket Sweet Bucket. Like, I'm indifferent a bit to it. And uh, for me, the whole imagining what the future would look like did not, wasn't funny to me or interesting. So,
Okay.
yeah,
No, I can see
that, and
that.
that, that's,
I had a really hard time picking this because there's like a couple of season 7 episodes that I kind of like, but I feel like those are already like the ones that are liked. So I was like, okay, let's pick an episode that nobody talks about.
yeah.
But yeah, I find this slightly better than you, I think, because I'm not indifferent to it, but I don't love it either. Like, but it's a better version of an episode I recently saw. So it's like,
That's PL episode, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. You want to go on to season 8?
yes. For this one, I have oral reports, and it's very simple. People don't like it, but I think Patrick is funny in it. It's a mean episode to SpongeBob because basically he just needs to do this like stupid oral report, and Patrick is just not even trolling him. That would be worse actually. Patrick is just super aggressive and throwing pillows at him and stuff, and I just find it funny. And I don't have like stage fright or anything, but I think it's like a good depiction of it with SpongeBob in the beginning and stuff, with everyone staring at him. And no, wait, is that actually part of? No, it definitely is. I've forgotten some stuff about this episode, but I think that Patrick is really funny. The scene at Sandy is really weird, and the classroom is also funny at the end. So I think the episode is just it's just a funny episode, and then you have the car chase or like car crash, I guess. It's I don't love this one, but I think it's underrated because people tend to dislike it.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're talking about because it is, and it's the kind of episode. I don't know if underrated is the right word. It's a controversial episode. Some people like it, and some people dislike it.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm also on the side of that. I'm more inclined to liking it than not liking it. So yeah, I can definitely see why you would say it's underrated if you hear some people talk about it like it's some horrible episode that tortures SpongeBob. Like, really, do you not see the joke and the humor in it? Come on,
yeah,
especially when Patrick is dressed up as Mrs. Puff.
yeah. Like that whole scene is just really funny to me, and
SpongeBob
that's
SquarePants, give your ass me. And actually, what I even found funnier was when they are in class at Mrs. Puff's, and then SpongeBob is getting anxiety again, and then he's seeing, you have that music going, and he's seeing everyone standing there, like looking at him angry, and then Patrick is holding up another pillow. That was
yeah.
so funny.
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
It's yeah, it's yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. I find the episode funny. That's about it.
Okay, good.
You wanna do yours?
Yes. Mine is Glove World R.I.P.
Oh,
This is an, you know it?
yeah. I watched all of it recently for my Glove World video, so I'm very familiar with the
Oh,
show.
right. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Actually, I made a comment, I think, there that it was underrated, that episode.
Yeah, I think I remember
Anyway,
that. Yeah, you go
yeah.
ahead.
Anyways, I think this is a very funny episode for season 8 standards, but also in general it's decently funny. There's this not this like There's not like this one joke that I'm going to say, oh, that was the best joke ever. But there are definitely a high quantity of jokes for post movie SpongeBob in this one. And I think they just worked with seeing how the park is decaying and how SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to save it. There's just a lot of, just in my opinion, funny moments. And I think it's cool that they're actually using this location in such a mundane setting. And for some reason, the thing is, uh, this one might be one of the funniest of season 8, but also for some reason, people hate on this one. Like it's some horrible, annoying episode when really, yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick are, of course, acting like a bit weird, but they are not hurting anyone else with it. They're only trying to save the park, and it's kind of like like some form of slapstick or something where you have these dumb and dumber, right? And then they're just trying to do stupid things. And yeah, for me, it really works. And then people are hating on, oh, continuity. Why don't Glove will return? Well, this is what I said earlier, right? If it's just an ending gag, it's not a problem. Plus, you cannot hold it against this episode that they didn't just make the new episodes take place in that Glove universe or whatever it was called. So it's not this episode's fault. Like, yeah, I wish they actually went forward with the other episodes, like Escape from Beneath Glove World, to be set in the Glove universe. But it's not this episode's fault that that did not happen. But I remember when this episode was coming out, was among one of the different ones that really makes you think, just by the name, like, oh, right, look, SpongeBob is finally going to do some continuity. But I don't have a problem with it, even if they don't proceed further with it. It's not this episode's fault. What do you think?
Yeah, I really agreed with what you said at the end, because I'm in the same boat where I really think they should have just kept using it in future episodes just for a change, but I don't dislike the episode for it, and that is like still one of the only, like, if you even could call that a bad thing about the episode, because there aren't really any bad things. If I could say like anything that's a bit weak is, I think, the concept of just them going on rides and the rides not functioning gets a bit old. Like they're all breaking down, but they do it in kind of creative ways.
I thought it was funny, but I can see, and it's not the funniest thing ever, but I did find most of it funny.
Yeah, I agreed it's funny. It was just like when I was watching it, it was like, oh,
Sorry, now continue.
no, I was just saying like, oh, and now this one is gonna break down, and it
Yeah,
goes a
yeah,
bit like that, but they did it
yeah.
creatively.
Yeah, but they then switch it up halfway by having them go, oh, we're going to save it, and then it still
Yeah,
goes wrong.
yeah, that
And what
was
I
actually
found
funny.
really funny now, what I found really funny is I remember they then at some point these people are flying out of the wheel and or something, and the SpongeBob is pushing that glove so to catch them up, right? And
Yeah,
they're like, and then the first one's like, "Hey, I landed safely," and then the next ones the other ones are coming. We landed safely, and then the thing cracks and they fall down.
right. Yeah, there are good. I agree. Like there are good jokes in this episode. Um,
Just a good story, and just how it start. I mean, the structurally speaking, like how it starts with just Swan sitting in his whatever in
yeah,
his
chair in
chair
the
in his
library.
library and then the people just fly in and immediately introducing the problem. That like in real life, if you're like sitting somewhere and you're hearing all of these airplanes going by, oh look, we're on an airplane road, we're next to the airport, like that,
Yeah,
right? Immediately introducing it. So and making you feel that this is something that's happening nearby because that thing can't have swung all over the ocean.
yeah.
It feels very active as an episode. The only thing I found a bit lame was the glove puns.
The what
Looks
puns?
lovely on the glove puns.
Oh, yeah, but
Looks
that's not
lovely on
exclusive
you.
to this episode. Like they have done that in. I don't
Yeah,
even
but
remember which.
they did it just a bunch of times. And the point is, I it's supposed to be like to me on paper it sounds really funny that they just keep hammering them in, but they just aren't funny.
Yeah, No, that was not a part of what I found funny about the episode either. Okay, so you can go ahead with your pick for season 9.
Yes. Well, I pick Don't Look Now. It's a really choice between this one and Layman's Fortune. Because I think Layman's Fortune might be a bit better and doesn't get talked about enough. But this one has actually gotten some hate and backlash, which I get because on paper it sounds like could be an annoying episode. SpongeBob and Patrick scream a lot, and I don't like screaming, but they keep it very calm. Like they don't scream more than they need to, and they scream a lot softer than you would think, and not, as I said, not more than needed for this story. Of course, you need to have them be scared and just like the fisherman, but they don't go that far with it. So I really appreciate that. And another thing with Don't Look Now is just well, I had to laugh about a lot of it. I thought it was funny just how scared they were, and I thought it was cool that Squidward is coming in as some sort of slasher villain, really akin to like this classic role as being this neighbor trying to sort of mess with SpongeBob and Patrick, where you can understand definitely why he's doing it, but at the same time he is sort of the villain. So you also don't feel bad for him too much when he gets hurt, when it backfires, and yeah, just generally, I thought that also just it's understandable. It's just such a cool concept for a horror movie. Well, cool. It's just such a natural concept. The fisherman that it's so simple that it works perfectly within the context of SpongeBob. So yeah, that is to me also something I appreciate. Just the night atmosphere. There's the beautiful animation of season 9, and just generally, at least in the first half of that season, the comedy was not that good either. So, and yeah, this one really stood out for me as a pretty funny one. What about you?
I like this one as well. It's probably in my top 10 of the whole season, not just like 9A. Um, I think I agree. It's a cool setup with Squidward in the dress up and everything. I don't find it annoying. I find the atmosphere really good. It's pretty creepy at parts. Even though you know pretty fast that it's Squidward. Um, and him messing around with them, like you said, I mean, it's not really justified, but like I don't really feel that bad because it's like season 9 and they have been annoying for a while. So I don't think it's the funniest episode, but it's 9A, so like yeah, episode looks pretty good, and yeah, I would say it's underrated. I don't really hear people talk about it, maybe because it is from 9A.
Yeah. What's your pick?
My pick is the I can't pronounce this word, but the executive treatment. Um, this episode, I don't know. I find the concept of Patrick like becoming this executive super funny. I think the elevator scene is like one of the funniest of the entire post movie, just because he's just standing there and I don't know. It's just funny. And I found his boss character, who I've forgotten, but he's like a salamander crocodile thing. Um, he's kind of intimidating, which really works here. And then Patrick is just kind of like I like that in this episode. Patrick is he's just there, like he's like barely aware of what's going on, and he's being really stupid, but he's being stupid in a kind of funny way, which I really enjoyed. And then him going to jail and stuff. Like this episode is funny. Like for season 9 standards, this episode I like this episode. What do you think?
I don't really like it. I get it because I used to also like this one, but then I look at it again and look at it again, and like I just thought a bit too much like idiocy and just obnoxious behavior. I guess I don't know how to say it. Like first of all,
Yeah.
I don't find it that fun. It's more like the concept is funny rather than that what they actually do is actually jokes or something. I guess it's funny that at some point Patrick puts like a puts a stamp on one of the other characters that actually works there, and he gets
Yeah,
fired. But that's like about it. Like other than that, I thought the jokes were a bit lame, like with the he has to print a pie and whatnot. And I thought that boss was a complete jerk, and I didn't find it funny done in a funny way. So for me, it's a bit like you're watching a complete idiot and a complete jerk, and this wasn't funny for me.
yeah. I thought
Sorry.
the dynamic between the two. I agree that the boss was a jerk and Patrick was really stupid in this one, but like for me, it kind of worked because I don't know. It might just be because Patrick is so stupid to the point where it barely even feels like the boss is being like mean to him because Patrick is like Patrick. But I
Yeah,
think if this episode was like done in one of the earlier seasons, I think if they could have perfected the jokes and stuff, I think it could have been really great because it's a
yeah.
really good
It's
setup.
always different if the jokes were different. It
Yeah,
obviously always would be different.
and I
And
can say, as someone
yeah,
who has watched all of season 14, Patrick, like if this was Patrick from one of the newer episodes, this episode would be completely unwatchable. Like season 9 is a he's good enough there. He could be worse.
yeah. But just thought this was one of his lesser. He was more like obnoxiously, maybe because this episode he looks a bit smug because he's like like one of the business people, and
Yeah,
I thought his behavior, just his expression was a bit smuggy, and the boss was also really unfriendly and smug in his face. The facial expressions really are part of it, right? Because
yeah,
when Patrick is being really dumb, and then Squidward is trying to make a joke about that, they make completely different expressions. You understand what I'm trying to say?
you mean at the
It,
Krusty
so
Krab?
well, just in general, like I was just talking about Don't Look Now, or
Oh,
let's think about one of the earlier episodes, right? Like Naughty Nautical Neighbor,
yeah,
or whatever. What was it? What you just was talking about? Snowball Effect. They don't, they don't. It's not like Squidward is looking at him just vindictive and like, oh, I'm gonna take that sucker down.
no,
And it's not
that's true.
obviously that's what he's doing, and he is laughing and all doing those things. But he's also, he's also sort of humanized there. And obviously Patrick is dumb, but he's more dumb of just standing there like drooling almost, with a funny dumb face. And here he's standing with a smug face, and that's really what ticks me a bit off about this episode. I'm being honest.
Yeah, I see. I guess that's really just we have like two different outlooks on that, and it changes everything because I thought Patrick looked so stupid with the glasses and stuff that I literally found it funny. Like I found him
I
funny
found it
looking, and you
just
found
fun.
him annoying looking.
Yeah, I found it irritating.
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean,
just like
I get that. Yeah, I get that the contrast, the first shot you make of it is funny, but then it becomes just him walking around there all the time is just a bit smug and key and yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Alright, wait, which one of us has 10? It's me who starts, right? Yeah. Um, so for season 10, did you sneeze or?
Yes, I did
Oh,
sneeze.
bless you. I was like
Thanks.
unsure if you like fell off your
Well, I
chair or
didn't
something.
sneeze. I coughed actually.
Oh, okay, that explains it. But I have for season 10 Out of the Picture. This one is an episode I have liked ever since I first saw it because it's a really crazy concept of Mr. Krabs literally wanting Squidward to die so he can claim his like paintings as being from a deceased painter and like get the money and stuff. But I thought as this really didn't come off as one of those really mean-spirited episodes where like one course meal. I think this did that thing a lot better. I think like them going to rock bottom and stuff in this episode and Squidward traveling everywhere. It really because it was back in season 10, it felt a lot more, I don't know, authentic or whatever you say because like I don't know. I felt like everything kind of worked in this episode. It is also funny, but it's mainly funny because of the like insane scenarios and stuff. But there are some good gags.
Yeah, you know, I You done? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry. I was asking, are you done?
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm done. I think
Okay.
something happened with the sound or something.
Yeah, I was taking out my other earbud,
Oh, okay.
trying to see if it works again. So for me, this episode just isn't funny, and I agree that it's not that mean spirited. I just I watched it and I just don't find it funny. I don't find him going to all these locations to be interesting, and I just uh, didn't laugh much watching it, except for
Okay.
maybe in the ending when Krabs is literally taking out the Malak.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it funny. So it wasn't mean. It certainly isn't like worst thing ever. I just don't find it funny. I would rather call it overrated. I just didn't laugh at it. I didn't. Well, maybe like the first joke where they show a painting and one of those customers' faces burn is funny. Like Pie Guy said, "Oh, this episode's so funny and all." So I watched it again, and yes, it is kind of funny, but it certainly isn't whatever he was seeing in it. To me, I don't find it that funny. So
I see.
yeah,
Um.
sorry.
Yeah. No. I like.
It certainly isn't the worst episode ever.
No.
Not by a long shot. Also not of this season, but it's just I didn't find it funny. If I found it funny, it would be completely different.
I think it's just for me. It's just how kind of outlandish the stuff is, and how I found. I had like a different opinion on like the traveling scenes because I actually thought they were very different, and like him going to the moon and stuff. I thought it was really entertaining all the way through, but I can see like I mean, it's SpongeBob, and even more, it's post movie SpongeBob. So if you don't find the episode funny, it's like it is what it is. Like there's there's not much to take away. I also
Yeah,
thought Squidward's art. It's always kind of fun to see Squidward's art, so
that
I
was
liked.
cool. That was cool. Yeah, that was cool. It was not nearly anything that deserves to have your head burned off for.
No,
So my pick for this season is Snooze You Lose,
oh, okay.
and you know that one. You remember, right?
You mean you talking about it?
Now, do you remember the episode?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. That was
Okay,
my
yeah,
like. Yeah, I was a bit surprised, but like, yeah, I know the episode.
yeah. So I picked it because, yeah, well, you're surprised, so that says enough, right? This is an episode that people either don't talk about or just, well, actually, they do talk about it, they don't like it. In a season with only 20 episodes, every episode is quite talked about. And, well, this one is one that is being talked about mostly negatively. And I just don't think it deserves that. I think this episode is decently funny. And I thought it was funny that they're trying to pilot Squidward, although it's a bit gross.
Yeah,
It is just a funny idea that they're just walking around with his in his body, and obviously the ending is pretty clear what's going to happen. But still, I was just pretty entertained. I just think it was weird how in the end you have this sort of fight between Squidward using his eyeballs against Patrick and SpongeBob, and then they actually just start to fight back, and fight and beat up Squidward from the inside. This is really weird, but uh, yeah, and at the beginning was not cool either because they were doing that burping stuff and that was disgusting. But I just think the body of this is funny. I thought, especially when they're trying to scam the bus, quote unquote, scam the bus driver, that they throw in one coin. It's like, oh well, I have seen that trick, and then people are trying to do to get in, that they have to pay like for the fare.
yeah,
I thought that was funny, even though it was disgusting to see Patrick getting the coins from his.
yeah, yeah.
Just
Right.
the way it had, the timing about it was funny. So yeah, I think this was just an episode that, as yeah, it's a bit gross. It's not like $300. Like, oh, I don't get what everyone's talking about because I do find it gross, and I can see why people find it annoying and overdone and stuff. But I found it was funny, and if I'm being honest, I think this one is a lot funnier. Well, funnier at least a lot. I like this one more than what was the other one called?
I Heart Dancing.
slimy dancing. I
Oh,
mean,
slimy dancing, right?
from
Uh,
season 5, where
yeah,
where Squidward goes into SpongeBob's body. I thought that's just a season 5 episode, and to me, well, it just didn't do very much for me. That one,
yeah, I can see that. I still think like the is I Heart Dancing in season 4 because that's
season
actually
7.
it is.
Yes, I Heart Dancing is like Who Put You on the Planet. That one, where
Oh right.
Squidward tries to get the spot by making SpongeBob just tired. So that's kind of the, I say, the budget Netflix adaptation version of the slimy dancing episode.
Why do I like remember that one really vividly? I don't know why, but um, yeah, about Snooze You Lose. I think this one is I actually would agree that it's if not underrated, at least overrated. Like overhated.
Yeah,
Because I don't hate it. I do find kind of the same stuff gross. I don't care about burping really, but the stuff where they're like biting on his brain and stuff is a bit much. Um,
that was more like just weird. Like, why would they fight? They're friends, right?
yeah, like some gross stuff, but also some
Yeah,
kind of funny stuff. Like the beginning is all right. The Squidward, like the mutant Squidward monster thing they create, that's funny. Um, it is kind of creative. I'm
I
kind
like
of
when they're sleeping on SpongeBob, even though it's gross because they're
oh
battering
right when
through
he's like
him.
really stretched
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that's just so cute that he's like that. Just um, that they're all just having a sleeping party, and SpongeBob being sponge and stretched out.
Yeah,
And then in the morning, he's like, Squidward, wakey, wakey. He's trying to like be a snoozing alarm. Very nice, right?
yeah,
He's genuinely wants to help Squidward there.
yeah. And they that goes for the whole episode, even though they have some questionable methods later. But no,
Yeah,
some
the fact that they go from helping him to just fighting him.
he does like win in the end, right? Before he takes
Well,
out the clarinet
they
himself.
struggle, and they struggle, and ultimately they ultimately SpongeBob and Patrick are just they come out of his mouth. That's
Oh
what
right.
happens, and then he starts to play, and then J.K. Simmons is like, yikes, I don't like this anymore. Get off.
Yeah. All right. I don't. I don't think that like takes away anything because like they were helping him all the way in anyway. So I find this one. I'm probably like it more than I dislike it. So I'm not like indifferent, but I don't love it. But it's. I would say it's underrated as well.
Yes. Okay.
Um, you have season 11.
Yeah. Okay. So I will have to say that my opinion is a bit less positive. Like season 11, there are not many good episodes. Season 11. You were right earlier that this is at least not better than season 10.
Yeah.
Uh, I still think it should be grouped together with like 9 or at least 9B and 10 rather than with 12. But yeah, this is where sort of the stuff that in 12 would really start to destroy the show um, start. And uh, I still think that these 2 episodes are enough to make me say it's not a complete disaster. Uh, of which one is, in my opinion, underrated, and that is Stuck on the Roof.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I think Stuck on the Roof is just a really fun episode. Uh, First of all, the way it starts, the facial expressions here, even though they are maybe sort of the sort of prototype ancestors of what would come like wacky faces
The next big
starting in
meme
season
face.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I think they do it well here. Like, for instance, how how SpongeBob he goes up on the roof, right? And
Yeah.
he stretches, and it's like symbolizing, oh look, it's nothing. It's just easy go up. I can just stretch my legs. So it's not like, oh look, wacky, SpongeBob is stretching his leg. Isn't that funny, kid? And
But what?
then
But I have to ask, what do you think about like right before that or after that when Squidward like his face falls off and it's I don't know if you remember it's a really like one of the worst like gory images he like
I don't
loses.
remember.
Yeah, I I can send the picture to you in Discord later.
Oh yeah, I, know, I remember. Yeah, that's how the thing gets stuck there. No, that was not that gory at all, man. That was not gory. That
His
was just
his
that was
nose bone
just
is literally
muscle.
sticking out.
Yeah, okay, that part was a bit
He
weird, but
steps
I
on his head on the
yeah, but
grill.
I think that is funny. Like, there's also in the what's called season 7. What is it called again? Stuck in the ringer. Yes, there's
Yeah.
also that point where SpongeBob sprays the what is it the condiment in Squidward's eyes, and they just fall off onto the paddy, and just the timing
Oh
with the
right.
music and the screaming is so funny to me. That made me laugh so hard. But anyways, no. Anyways, SpongeBob goes up there, and then Mr. Krabs is like, because he's scared to go down then, even though he got up very quickly. And then Mr. Krabs is like, "Oh, SpongeBob, I demand you calm down immediately." And then he makes like an exaggerated face, but not super exaggerated or big in the screen. It's more like, showing that he's flexing his muscles, like, "Oh, come on, you little," like that. And I
Yeah.
thought that was very effective with, showing him he clearly is making a face, but he's not. That face is not going around the screen or something. The face is reserved dirt. So it's like, when you're really angry and you're just like you want to, you're just like flapping your wings or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like it's so angry, like, "Yikes, get off of me," or like that, like that. That's what it felt like for me, and I thought that was really sort of the right spirit that you want to convey that message, that you're just frustrated with something and you just want someone to listen, but obviously you cannot force them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that's. But I'm analyzing a freaking face here. And okay, anyway, let's go on. SpongeBob then is scared on that roof, and uh, they have this scene because he goes to bed there. And then they have this weird scene where Squidward is having this date with himself. That part I would have kept out, because really the just the cramp in the hand is really unpleasant to watch and think about. But after that, the morning atmosphere, the aesthetic, you like night, and I like that, just the sun coming up
Yeah.
in the morning, and um, just seeing how you hear the rooster, and that's really cool. And yeah, anyways, then they have the whole then they have the whole restaurant on the roof, and well, whatever. It's just a cool story, and I also like the song, by the way, that the song that he's dancing to, and the dance that he's doing is also cool. So yeah, that's about what I think about the episode.
I agree a lot. Like, I really like this episode. It's definitely one of, if not the best season 11 episode. Um, like you said with the atmosphere, I think like the sun coming up and stuff. It's a kind of like lightning and colors that not really used that much in this show. Um, I think the episode overall looks really good. Like, and then there's the raining, and then before that there's the night, and there are some really cool visuals when like SpongeBob is looking down and he's in space, and like I like the concept. I think I like everything about this episode. I just wish it was funnier, of course, but it's literally season 11, so you can't ask for that. Um,
Yeah, that's the same thing.
it's like, which episode is the best looking? Um, I would say I like the restaurant on the roof stuff as well, when he like creates his proto Krusty Krab. I like that. I like, yeah, I like everything about this episode except for the comedy that doesn't exist. I would say that this is probably the best season 11 episode. The only reason I didn't pick it is because um, I think that
Uh,
yeah, I don't know what I was going to say, but I like the episode. I don't think it has any like weak scenes. I don't. Yeah, the Squidward stuff is a bit weird, but except for that, everything
yeah,
is.
the Squidward having his dinner date and
Yeah.
then having his being in the end, also with just how he gets uh, he gets stuck inside in the below. It's just weird. Like this stuff feels very disconnected from the rest of the episode and isn't funny. In so yeah,
Yeah.
that
Oh, right at
that
the
was
end.
a weaker part.
Yeah, I just have to say, I just remember that this is the episode that starts with SpongeBob twerking as well, so I will have to say I don't know about
That
that one
song,
either. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
no,
song.
neither. But I
But
do like the song that they dance to.
yeah,
So
I
in the
had the
end, he does have
song.
a norm. Later, he has a better dance. He has a normal dance that is not, twerking. But the twerking is kind of weird. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. This one is definitely a highlight of season 11. I like it's a really creative one. Like it a lot.
what's your highlight or at least your underrated episode?
I have an episode that I think is weaker than this one, but I feel like it's more underrated because I've never seen anyone mention it. Like literally, it's fun-sized friends. Um, and this one has some of the best like backgrounds in the entirety of modern SpongeBob. I think because like the entire like first minutes of the episode is I don't know if it's a sunset or a sundown, but the whole background is like purple and it looks so good. Um, and I like the visuals in this whole episode, and I like the concept. It's like them having their own mini versions of themselves and like splitting up and
Hmm.
having their little costumes and stuff. And I just think it's creative, and the story is pretty good because they are really torturing these small versions, and I like how they eventually turn back, and it's so you are kind of on the side of the small ones, and then the ending is super cute with them building their own little small houses and everything. Like, I think this is a cute episode. I like the story and I like the visuals.
Yeah, it's cute. I did think the point with Patrick and his little SpongeBob, and he gives him this arm that is just kind of gross to me or something. I don't know how to describe it. Not like painful gross like that.
There is a
That
lot
was
of gross moments actually in this one.
unpleasant and like this is one of the episodes I don't remember much about it. It just goes by for me, but I can definitely see what you mean with the nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I will have to say that there's one thing I find really funny when uh when when they are tied up for the big SpongeBob and Patrick by
Yeah.
the little ones, and SpongeBob's like, "Oh, I got a plan," and he frees himself, and then Patrick's like, "Oh, if it's not another one of your foolish ideas to get the Krabby Patty secret
Or
recipe,"
that one is
and
that's a really good
so
joke.
funny.
I forgot about that. Like it's my pick
That
and
is
I totally forgot
yeah.
about that.
No, that is actually one of those, to me, I'm going to say, three movie level jokes,
Yeah, it is.
right? Just
It's
just
it's
the
funny
the randomness of it.
because
The
that's something
randomness. Just
Patrick
like
could
with
say
the
in early SpongeBob.
yeah, you could say no, just so random that it's believable that Patrick would say it because he's dumb, but just
Yeah.
well, let's say irrational, like not he can say anything, but like also this that it is just something random, like he says it when he should have said it to Plankton, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. And yeah, kind of like with the "oh, your brother, please and trouble," and it's just so random that it's funny. Patrick being funny, and yeah, I can definitely see why you would like that episode for that for the things you like. But I just personally, I don't think the concept is that good personally. Just not that super interested in it.
I can
So
see that.
that's
It's not like the most creative concept. I might have said it earlier, but there's like the incredible shrinking sponge and stuff. So it's not like super unique. But I don't know. I like the idea of there being small versions, and I think the small versions, like the redesigns of them, are really good because they look like them, but they have like slight variations and stuff.
yeah,
Um, I think like the small
yeah.
SpongeBob has Patrick's teeth, and the small Patrick just has like he doesn't have the flowers on the pat. It's like it's small stuff that like I don't know. I
That
just
they constantly did to make it look more interesting. Yeah, cool.
exactly. I
Like
just like
with
some
the pink
effort.
velour and the carrot and the pink velour what you just told me about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay,
then we got the last season that we're gonna do. And you are you starting off? No, I'm
you are
starting off.
starting off.
I'm starting off. I This is hard to remember, but I got the episode Insecurity Guards. Um, I thought this one, when I first watched it, was a highlight of the season because it was um, like, when I say it's funny, it's not that there's a lot of like good lines and stuff, but it's like it was really entertaining. Squidward's side plot was both like kind of entertaining, but also like you. I like how he's literally just in the museum trying to sneak in his own paintings and just keeps getting like jumped by security guards, and like it's it's like Squidward getting punished for actually doing like something that he shouldn't do, and SpongeBob and Patrick being really incompetent security guards. And there's like the art in this episode is really cool, like the different exhibitions and stuff, and there are some creative stuff, and I feel like it was entertaining all the way through for me at least. What do you think?
Uh, well, I like this one structurally, and I also like the art. So yeah, it's nice art, just like in out of picture or whatever.
Yeah,
And as you said, it's cool that they throw in that Squidward subplot in the middle, and they don't make it either distracting or something that is just very disconnected. What they just said about stuck on the roof, right? That the Squidward stuff seems like it's just there for no reason.
yeah,
But I just don't like the actual content of the story that much. For me, it's just happens. I
yeah,
think it's funny the first time. This is one of those things that many modern episodes they have this with. Like first time the story is cool, and then the second time it's like, oh wait, where are the jokes?
yeah. I can definitely see that. It's more like, um, yeah. There's not. I can't say that there are any lines that I remember from this one. But I think like there's a lot of people running around and them like running into stuff, and then some creative stuff happens because that's like the most you can get out of it. But I thought it was entertaining, and going back to rewatch, I probably would notice that as well. Like, okay, is there any good lines? But yeah, season 12.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you
Good.
have?
Um, I think you can make an educated guess.
I literally can't differentiate between like 12 and 11. Um,
You can. I can actually.
I'm trying to think. Um, I actually don't know which one it is.
Okay, I want to first say something about differentiating between 12 and 11. I do think there is still a lot of difference. Like 11 is like sort of in between 10 and 12, and then 12 is in between 11 and 13.
Ah, I see.
So for me, I can't really relate to it. Like there's only 11 does start the trends of season 12 and then beyond, but like there's only a few episodes in season 11 that genuinely feel like a season 12, 13 episode
Mm,
to me. Like, well, 12 also still have some stories, so like season 12 episode maybe, but still season 12 just has a completely different vibe to me. And but anyways, my pick is an episode that doesn't feel like a season 12 episode. It's an episode that feels, I don't know where I should put it, maybe in season 9 or something mentally. It's quarantined crap.
oh,
This is, yeah, the thing with season 12 is, weirdly enough, I don't have an episode from season 12 that I can just point out, like, wow, I hate that episode. But I
lucky
also
you.
can't point out, what?
I can just say you're lucky.
Well, the thing is, I think the season as a whole is pretty bad. Like, worse than, uh, well, at least worse than say, the four seasons that came before it, at least.
Yeah,
Like, worse than season 8, 9, 10, and 11 for sure. And probably also worse than season 6 and 7. seven is a bit debatable, but anyways, the thing is, there's not a single episode that I really love either.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
what? I mean, this is not an episode I love. There's not an episode that I find outstandingly bad. Like there's a lot. Most episodes are bad, but not outstanding bad. They all spread the awful things that people complain about modern SpongeBob, spread them very evenly throughout the season. There's not a single episode that goes full all the full mile. Like season 11 has Ink Lemonade, which is just awful.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an Ink Lemonade in season 12. And if I look at
No.
season 13, and if I look at season 13, it's definitely a different tier. At least the bad episodes there, the worst half is a different tier than just season 12 tier bad to me. So that's what for me that is the thing. But there's not much good either. Like even season 11, as you just said, that's an episode that I actually like, and probably season 13, well, doesn't. But I don't know. But anyways, this episode was hauled off because of COVID, understandably. And then I saw it actually. Well, it's certainly not a great or anything. Similar level as some of the good episodes of the other seasons that we've talked about. Like, to me, this one isn't much worse than Grandpappy the Pirate or like a Scent of Money or something. What I like about this episode, well, first of all, there are some jokes that I actually laughed at, but not that many. Second of all, I think the story is pretty interesting. And third of all, it's about being underrated, and this one is being hated on because of COVID. But really, if you take it out of that context, it's actually a pretty decent episode. The weird thing about this episode, and I don't know if it's intentional, is that basically the sequence of events strongly follows that of a certain movie called The Bar from 2015.
I
And
have not seen that one.
Elbar. You don't know that one? No, it's Elbar. It's a Spanish film. I saw it on Netflix once, and just the sequence of events is absolutely completely similar. So I would almost think that this is just some sort of homage to that film. But yeah, I shouldn't spoil that film. But anyways, Quarantine Crabs. I'm trying to really think about what exactly happened and what I liked there because I can't fully remember. I certainly didn't like the ending where they're
No.
all disgusting, but I just thought that everything before that was pretty fine and a decent story. I thought it was funny the how they were looking for the sicko, you go in the fridge and the stuff. And also seeing that Swanson was just having a good time in that fridge, so it wasn't like a real punishment or anything.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I also, at least I think, when I first saw it, or maybe on rewatch, enjoyed some stuff in it. I disliked the ending. I think like there's some, I don't know. It's just really gross. But the episode itself is pretty good. Like them being thrown in the freezer one by one is a funny concept, and like you said, SpongeBob's having fun in there, and I like I like the concept that there is a whole world inside the freezer. I like stuff like that. Krabs is really entertaining. He just becomes super paranoid. It's like plankton paranoia, but a bit less interesting. I like the joke of like, or not the joke, but like Krabs literally killing his old crewmates by throwing them into a freezer and then forgetting to take them out. Um, it's a solid episode. I would agree that like it's
Solid, yes, yes,
yeah,
solid for season 12.
definitely solid for season 12. Probably maybe in my top 10. But there are some episodes in season 12 I like some stuff in, and I would say like this is one of them.
I
There
have
is
a
some
real
good
hard
stuff
time
there.
to think about them, man. I can't because it just blends together for me. Like season 12 is a consistent 4 out of 10. So
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like other seasons have some really terrible episodes, but also some decent ones. And season 12 is just kind of bad. And it's like it's clear that this is the evolution of season 11 in going off the wrong rails towards 13, right?
yeah,
But and for some reason, I just of all of this to first, I'm talking about the not just about like compared to season 13 and 14. I mean, just even compared to the 11 seasons that went before it.
Yeah.
At least the post movie season that went before it. With every season, I can come up with a single episode that I just vehemently hate. Maybe season 10 will be a bit harder, but because it's shorter. But all the other seasons, season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11, all have an episode that I absolutely just cannot stand. And season 12 just doesn't have that single episode for me. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
But it also doesn't have something that I. It also doesn't have that one episode that I really want to like either. So
No, I actually kind of agree, except for the fact that I actually hate multiple season 12
yeah,
episodes.
you really can't stand the Sandy nurses,
The
the
Naughty
Nutty
Nieces is
Nieces.
definitely the worst one for me. But I think
Yeah,
I kind of. Maybe it's because we talked about Stuck on the Roof, but like, I really agreed. Like, season 11 had like a couple of episodes that I actually could say I like. Like, season 12, I've even forgotten what my example was. It was Insecurity Guards, but it's underrated, so I would probably pick another one for like the best one. But I still
yeah.
would probably not love it. Like, I don't know what's the best one for me. Like Dream Hoppers, it's like kind of cool, but it's not like I don't.
Dreamhoppers, yeah, Dreamhoppers is cool, but it's not funny.
No, exactly. It's not funny. There's not
That's,
even any dialogue,
and,
so they
and
can't really be
thing
that
is,
funny.
basically what you said about Dungeons and Dragons. Like, if Dream Hoppers was some sort of was the conclusion to just a really good season with great humor, great stories, and everything, then the fact that there's literally no words set in it, no one cares about, right?
Yeah,
And it would be just a great way to cap it off. But the fact that they have to do this, like, it's still a decent episode, but like the fact that nothing in the season before really makes you laugh, that's the problem.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
It does drag it down.
yeah, yeah. I
Anyways,
wonder.
that was the video.
Yeah, that was the first episode of our the Spongeboomer podcast, probably
The
working
Spongeboomer
title.
podcast.
It
Oh man,
kind of rolls
imagine.
off the tongue.
Nice.
I'm gonna, yeah. I don't know. I don't. I'm just gonna end end the recording, and then we can maybe like add an outro or something later.
Ah,
And
it's fine. Just say we're done and subscribe and like and I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
we
you
can
like
do
in
that when
YouTube,
it's,
right? Yeah.
yeah,